The annual spring football game takes place Saturday, starting at 3 p.m. at Camp Randall Stadium. Admission to the game is $5, with proceeds benefiting the UW Office of Undergraduate Advising. Game will also be televised live by BTN. Prior to the game, starting at 1:30, UW Athletics will host the Badgers Sports Kids Fair in the McLean Center, and that event is free. Right now we are joined by Director of Athletics Barry Alvarez and Wren Singer, the Director of the Office of Undergraduate Advising. Wren will have some opening comments, then we can take questions for either Coach or Wren.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Coach Alvarez, for selecting Undergraduate Advising as the academic partner for the spring game. We're really lucky and excited to be partnering with the athletic departments during such an exciting time for the football program. We're all here today because we're excited about our new coach and for a new era in Wisconsin football, but likewise, you may not know, it's also a new era for advising at UW-Madison. So if you think back to your own college experience, some of you probably didn't know exactly what you wanted to do when you went to college. Many of us did know what we wanted to do, but some people didn't, and we hoped that college would be a time when you could figure that out. For most of us, we didn't have much help from the university in making choices and figuring out our options. Well, times have really changed. UW-Madison has a strong team of academic and career advisors standing by, ready to coach our undergraduate students. A good relationship with one or more of these advisors provides the focus and support that students need to figure out what to do with their lives and how to get there. Advisors are game changers. Advisors ask questions, advisors give pointers, advisors know the rules. Advisors help students to make clear and purposeful decisions about their academic and career plans. And students, all of our UW students, really need advising more than ever now because the stakes are higher. It takes more preparation to be successful than it used to. Doing well in school just isn't enough anymore. Students need to pair a really good academic program with a lot of other experiences like volunteering, working, research, leadership, to create a package that will really move them toward their future. Advisors can help students develop that package, and it's that package that we call the Wisconsin Experience. We want all of our students to graduate from UW-Madison in 4 years with as little debt as possible, fully prepared for their future. A relationship with a professionally trained and devoted academic advisor can really be a game changer in a student's life. So we're thrilled to have the opportunity to use the proceeds from this year's spring game to improve undergraduate advising at UW-Madison. All of our graduates go on to great things, and advising really helps them get there. So thank you.
We can go ahead and take questions for Coach or Wren. Brian?
Barry, do you remember your academic advisor at the University of Nebraska?
That was my coach, John Melton. No, I don't remember my advisor.
You probably didn't have one.
I didn't have one, or I didn't use one.
Right.
You pick one, an organization every year. Why did you find this appealing to you?
As you would suspect, since we started this several years ago and tried to pair with some unit on campus, we have quite a few that contact us and want to associate with the athletic department and partner with us, and we take a look at all of them. We know that Wren and her group have been very active in dealing with SOAR, dealing with particularly a lot of our incoming freshmen, along with our athletes. So they touch so many of our athletes that we felt that this was only appropriate and fitting that this would be a very good partnership.
Wren, do they come to you? I mean, do the students or come to the advisors, or do you see the advisors reaching out more to them? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Good question. Most of the students do come to the advisors. Students in this generation are much more likely to seek help than my generation was or other generations before us. And we don't require students to see advisors in most cases, although in the athletic department I think they do. But students do come and seek advising. We have over 85% of our undergraduate students see an advisor in any given semester. So we're really reaching almost all the students, and the students are really grateful for the help.
Andy?
Barry, I'm sure that the recipients of this money from the spring game would love to have the attendance figures of Ohio State, 99,000, Nebraska, 76,000, Michigan, 60,000. What's your realistic expectation for this game? And do you feel like there's something missing if you don't have one of those big crowds? Is that something, a measuring stick for you?
No, it's not a measuring stick because we have tried since 1990 to generate interest in the spring game, and I just think there are just too many things to do in Madison that we have not been able to, through a number of coaches, been able to generate that type of interest. We felt that this was, and I think all of you know how I feel about different preparations and different settings for practice. Anything that you do differently is a teaching tool and helps you prepare for a game. Playing in front of a crowd is a little different than a regular scrimmage during spring practice, where you get a response from the crowd according to the play. I think that helps prepare a young player for an opening game. We felt that this would be a way, possibly, involving someone else on campus, that we could generate some more interest, maybe another faction of people that wanted to support undergraduate advising, as well as come and see the spring football game. And so, it was a kind of a double motivation for us initially. I can't say that it's really affected the attendance. Our attendance will be anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000. That's generally what we've had since 1990. And we've promoted it. We've done a lot of different things. We've drafted teams. We've had guest coaches. We've done a number of different things. But for the most part, that's kind of the numbers that we'll get. We have never been able to crack through and have the numbers that you just mentioned at those other schools.
Tammy?
Coach, for many years, the spring game and Crazy Legs Run were held the same day as a dual day, single day event. Do you prefer them separately or together as they're going to be this year?
I like it together. I just like a day of celebration. The Crazy Legs is a function of the athletic department. It ends in the stadium. There's a celebration of completing the race. A number of those, I'm not sure of the timing, but we've had it before where we've had to clear the field to let the kickers come out and start warming up. We have a number of those who ran in the race who stay in the crowd. I think that is all good, and there's just always a lot of energy at the end of that race. People were excited, and I think there's a little carryover there. So particularly if it's a nice day, I think both of those together fit very well.
Will you look to do it more as a dual event day in the future? I know in the past 2012 and this year it'll be in one day, but will you, I know it was based on the request of the football staff for those 2 years, will you look to do it more often going forward?
You know what, that is the spring game is the call of the football coach. And they'll take a look at spring break and how they want to break their practice up. Gary Anderson preferred to start earlier and finish earlier. This originally was scheduled a week earlier. Paul wanted to practice, his thinking is much like mine. Have half of your practice prior to spring break. You may have some nagging injuries that'll be healed up when they come back. It makes you think about football longer. Those are some of the reasons that I liked it. Paul happened to agree with that. That's why we changed the date to a week later. And you have a better chance for a nice day.
Kevin?
This is a former player, coach, now athletic director. Can you talk about the kind of evolution of spring football? I mean, now, every conference has a network, and all the games are on TV, and they get replayed. And just what have you seen, from when you played, through now when everyone's on TV and exposed?
It used to be a big deal when you got a regular game on TV. Up until about 1990, if you had 2 games on TV, that was pretty good. That's when ESPN was just coming onto the scene. Now every game is televised, and spring games are televised. I think it's great for the kids. I think it's wonderful that families and friends have an opportunity to see young people perform where they normally wouldn't, particularly if you're at a distance. I always look at it as a recruiting tool. Our league will show you our spring game will be on TV. Coaches' shows will be on. Be able to see all those things and see us, see your youngster or your player, if you're talking to a coach, play every game. So it has, spring ball has, there's been an evolution. I think when I played, we practiced for 30 days. We had a complete month of practice and finished up always on May 1st with a scrimmage. And it certainly wasn't televised.
Already hasn't coached a game yet, but what are your initial impressions of Coach Christ as a head coach here at Wisconsin?
I've been impressed. You know, I've always felt, I felt when Paul was here as an assistant and as a coordinator that he was one of the best play callers and quarterback developers that had ever been around. I like what I see and how he manages and his vision for a program, how he deals with his assistant coaches, how he delegates, how he oversees. I love my conversations with him about, you know, his vision, what he sees with the players, you know, how he wants to bring them along, how he coordinates playing with the strength program and everything else. So I've been very impressed.
Any other questions?
Just along those same lines, Coach, have you had the chance to see some spring practice, and how do you think the spring practice sessions are going under Coach Christ?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't see the scrimmage. I just got back into town. I saw a scrimmage last Sunday. You know, they're progressing as you normally would in spring practice. This is a time to work on individuals, try to find, particularly for the new staff, familiarize yourself with your individual players, what their limitations are, what they can actually do, what you can feature as you go into the summer and start preparing for next year, how you will taper your playbook according to the skills of your players. You know, all those things are happening right now. Plus, you're starting to build a chemistry of a staff and players. So I think Paul's has gotten a lot out of his guys. You know, he was left with a funny schedule timing wise. I don't think he was crazy about, but that'll be rectified, and he's worked his way around it. I think the players have reacted very well.
Wren, I've got a question for you. What's the sense of folks in administration at the University of Wisconsin when you see the success of the athletic department and the excitement that you might have being able to partner with something like this?
Well, it's really exciting. It represents the university well in all ways. It strengthens the brand of the university. More students apply to the university when our sports programs are doing well. And so I think it's a really good partnership, and the fact that the athletic department chooses an academic partner for each year's spring game and allows us to kind of work together is, I think, a really strong demonstration of that partnership. So I think the success of the sports programs makes everything work better for all of us.
Coach, next season the hockey team's going to look a little different with coaching staff-wise, with a lot of the assistants needing to be replaced. What do you envision as the future of Wisconsin hockey?
Well, we've always had a strong tradition of hockey. I think this was obviously not what we've been accustomed to in hockey, and I have all the confidence in the world that Mike Eves can correct it. You know, this year you talk about a young team. Next year they should be veterans. But I feel confident. You know, you run into bumps in the road occasionally. The important thing is that you address them. You tear things apart. You find out and try to come to a conclusion what the issues are and how to correct it. And that's what Coach Eves is trying to do right now, and I'm very confident that he can do that.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Wren.